Welcome, viewers and listeners, to the Health Revolution, the program that shows you how to have a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity. In a sea of fads, we reveal the science-backed strategies that truly work. We explore physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery. These are the keys to an enriched life. Join us for inspiring interviews with champions who conquered life's health challenges, fueling your journey. Are you ready to unlock your potential? To live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest. Together, we're about to change the game, starting now. The information provided in this show is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. Viewers should use their own discretion and consult with a healthcare professional for personalized guidance and recommendations. Welcome, everyone. You are watching the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, and we are so glad that you are joining us today. Whichever way you're tuning into us, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. We want to stay connected to you. And of course, when it comes to the Health Revolution, we pride ourselves in covering all things the physical strength, the emotional resilience, and the mental mastery. And today we're going to be able to dive into how do you turn failures, how do you turn fiascos into success, internalizing that so we can really grow into a new level of strength. My next guest is someone who I cannot wait for you to meet. First, take a look at this. Meet Cheri Petroni, prosperity mindset expert who is a beacon of resilience and transformation. Experiencing business failure, Cheri knows the depths of entrepreneurial struggle all too well. For years, the elusive dream of money-time freedom seemed out of reach, leaving her imprisoned in her business. Nights were spent in worry, days in exhaustion, and meals became scarce amidst the weight of depression. Despite relentless effort, financial and time goals remained distant, taking a toll on her health and relationships. Yet, amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerged. Cheri's aha moment brought clarity and liberation. Recognizing the shackles of familial money paradigms, Cheri embarked on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. With a fresh perspective, she rewrote her story, creating the life she desired. Now, Cheri offers others the same transformative journey. Guiding others through the steps she took, she helps break free from limiting beliefs and create empowering paths to success. It's about reclaiming wealth and time freedom, rewriting narratives, and embracing a life of abundance. Cheri Petroni, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello, thank you. I'm doing really well. I'm very excited to be here today.
I'm excited that you're here too, diving into it. So obviously you are the comeback story from a point in which things were at a very low point to where you were able to reach success. Take us through what you went through back then and how you got from there to here.
So very, very quick version. I was a teacher in my former life, and that didn't end up being very fulfilling after a while due to some political things and so forth. And so I also had kids. And when I went to go back, I really was not wanted. And I was an excellent teacher, and I had years and years of people waiting for their kids to come to my class. And that was my first hit, right? And really some of these things came from when I was a kid, and I didn't realize it at the time. So what I did is I became an esthetician, and that evolved into what I'm doing today. However, what the catalyst was is all of the things that as a child I learned just came up into this head, right? That it was so amazingly ridiculous what I was doing, working 24/7, trying to please everybody, not eating or eating and binging and, candy or something like that. And couldn't sleep, all of those things, which we can get into further today. But the point was, I came to this point that what is going on? I was actually teaching some of this mindset stuff and not doing it myself. And what I had to do was go deep within and really take a look at what was going on and why. Why was I sitting in this point where I could not get a break? Really, it was that I was doing it to myself. And here I am 7 years later, about when I started the journey, and it very quickly became clear to me that I was doing things in a way that just didn't work. And I've shifted all those and have a really great life today.
And, you talk from a space of that entrepreneurial spirit. And, what I love about this is your tenacity of putting forth the effort to make success happen. And so the idea was there. Where was the disconnect for you back then?
That is such a good question. I don't know if I've ever had anybody ask me that. And you know what it is? Oh, sure, I'm an 80s girl. Put your nose to the grindstone and don't look up until you're 65. Well, I'm not there yet, but I did need to look up because it wasn't working. I had all those ideas and was trying to be everybody I could be, 70s. Bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan, and never let your guy ever know that he wasn't a man or whatever. That you know what I'm talking about. Anybody that age knows that we can't do it all, nor do we want to do it all. But I have the tenacity, and I have all of the gifts that would give someone the ability to be a great entrepreneur. And I had the limiting beliefs behind them that kept getting in my way, and I didn't know what they were until I started taking a look. It's just that idea that something's not working and I keep doing the same thing and I can't seem to get to the next level.
So I hear that the work ethic was there. Could you envision exactly what you wanted to do, or did you find that there were moments where you were throwing things against the wall trying to make something stick?
So the answer would be yes. Because yes, I'm throwing things against the wall because I'm wondering why these other things aren't working. And so strategies, business strategies, and you go to do this first, and then you go and you market, and then you get your right target audience, and then everybody loves you, except for they see that little piece of something that you don't see, where maybe you're not quite as confident as you want to be, or they can't quite trust you because your message isn't quite as clear as what it looked like on your website, or whatever it is. It's different for everyone, but they come back to some of the same limiting beliefs, and often some different ones as well. And so when I say yes, it's because I was doing all of the things and nothing was working because I wasn't looking from a framework that would create the environment that I could succeed, because I was in the way with some of the things I was thinking, not knowing I was thinking them.
What did self-care look like, even if it wasn't ideal? What did it look like back then?
Yes, it was the best I could do. And I did eat well for the most part, but 95%, but 5% of a little something incorrect that may, like, okay, sugar every day doesn't work, right? So little rewards. I'm going to reward myself with this one piece of candy. So that's one thing, or not eating at all. Self-care was, I couldn't sleep because I was worrying at night. I was trying to figure out how to manage work-life balance, which there's no such thing anyway, but there was no harmony to what is it that is the most important thing today. What are my priorities? What are the goals? Make sure I spend time with my kids and my husband, take care of myself, and do what I need to do. I didn't have a plan. And part of it was, that's what I saw growing up. That's what I saw all my family doing. That's how everyone was around me. I didn't know what a plan was. I'm smart. I know how to run a business. And yet me by myself doing it 24/7, thinking I was going to get somewhere, was not a good plan.
Did you have a support system at that time as you were putting nose to the grindstone and just not looking up until you got work done?
So no, not really. No, everybody was kind of the whole, oh, well, she's just going to work herself to death and she's going to do this. And if I asked for help or if I was needing some help, quite often I wouldn't get met with positive, including people that were working in the spa for me. Like they were some of the worst. I had some strange experiences, all self-induced, I will say, because they knew they could take advantage of me. They could push the envelope and I would just give up and do it myself, right? So there were some things like that which clearly were that I was thinking in error, you could say. Needed to shift that, definitely.
So in that environment, do you think that those around you just didn't take your vision seriously, or maybe that the actual vision itself wasn't as clear as where it needed to be? What did that look like?
So I would really say that they didn't take me seriously because I didn't take me seriously.
Okay.
I thought I was taking myself seriously, but I wasn't really looking. What is your purpose? Why are you here? Because it's not to be there for 14 hours a day and being exhausted and then going to bed and not eating and then being stressed out all night and not being able to sleep. So I had to take a look. So self-care should be where it's not only helping you become a better person and getting the self-care practices that you need, but it should also be to have the irreversible credibility and confidence and going in and knowing what you want. And I didn't have any of that in the background. So yes, they would do some bizarre things. And again, I was attracting that, right? Comes back to energy alignment as well, which is part of what I do in the spa. And, I wasn't giving the energy out of somebody that would be attractive to them. They knew they could push my buttons and they did. And
What back then, what would you say, knowing what you know now, looking back then, what would you say your definition of success was back then?
so I was really, really focused on making money, which is very easy if you have the right mindset as well, by the way. But I was so focused on that and not looking at, and I don't have enough money to get any help, right? So keep sticking, just keep going, keep going, keep going. And I just thought, back in the day, oh, just you get a good job or you get to be a business owner and you really get flexibility, which isn't always the case either, but it can be built in if you know how to build it. So it was kind of just go to work every day and do as much as I can. And if somebody wants a service at 10 o'clock at night, I do it sometimes. Why? I wasn't thinking about myself or what my needs were or my family's needs. It was all about success at the expense of everything else that I stood for.
So a lot of this was when you were working mom at the time. You were building your business, you had moved away from teaching. And so there was that element of trailblazing back in the day, perhaps. And you
Yes,
were,
I guess so. That is true. Yes.
and tell me about the turning point for you where you discovered you had to stop and pause and recognize things had to change.
Yeah, it was really, I was sitting at my desk at work at the front. So at this point, I did have the spa. I wasn't independent. I was an independent business owner with just myself in a room, not just, but and was much simpler. And then I opened the holistic spa, and I have I think 9 people in there now. But I was sitting there, and I don't know what exactly happened. It was just like this epiphany, like the sea spread apart or something like that. And I go, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm teaching these people these things and I'm not even looking at this myself. And I joke that God watches my back and gives me certifications to get with all these coaching things so that I will learn that I need to do them too. Right. And so it was a typical day. I don't know what was so different about it. I just saw things and I'm like, wow, I need to really take myself more seriously. And so everything that I do in my treatment room or online when I'm doing the stuff that I do with mindset, I've already done it. I've already done all the dumb things, and I'm now doing the things that work. And I don't dumb. It's not really that I was stupid. I just didn't know. I didn't realize.
So then the connection between the financial success and success for you, as in optimizing your care, where were you able to make the connection between the two?
So one of the things that I do is a metabolism reset and detox and so forth for people, and then help them see what their food story basically is, right? So there is a mindset piece, and there's also actually a full food situation and what have you. But you have to look at the food relationship, right? So I was in this program that did have a little bit of that, but not enough for most people. And I was one of those people. So I also started learning about that. And it really helped me to see how sometimes, like I will just say a donut. A donut used to represent to me connection. But what I thought it was is, oh, I'm craving a donut. And then I'd eat a whole box of donuts. I'm like, why? What I learned from looking at myself is it meant connection, because the only time we ever sat at the table together as a family when I was a kid was when we went to Winchell's Donuts in the middle of the night because of a situation where we were afraid of the wind blowing the trailer over. And so that's the show. And it was like, wow, this is really, I want connection. And then now I go, no, you need to call somebody. You don't need a donut. I don't even like donuts, really.
So was it a self-discovery, or was it something that a practice that you were guided through when you first discovered that food is a true connection to the body, and how the body's able to respond?
Yes. I wanted to get some sort of structure for eating better. And so the program that I've been a coach with that now, I think since 2017. So a while. And then of course, then the searching further, because there were sometimes still the cravings. They're like, why is this coming to mind? And so I dug deeper with some of the other mindset things that I have learned and trained in. And I just keep going deeper because, again, those are the grindstones. Some things are the same because I do like to know everything there is. And what I found is those types of things like, oh, wow, or oh, wow, a bag of M&Ms. My mom used to get those and then hand some out to each of us. And that meant motherly love to me. And so sometimes I'd want to get a bag of M&Ms, and I'm like, again, I'm not really a sugar fan, honestly. I don't really like it that much. But it served the purpose until I saw that I need to call my mom, or I need to go over and visit her. I literally live around the corner from her, and I never did back then because I didn't understand the dynamics. And once I saw that's all it is, and started going and actually telling her I love her and hug her, which I didn't ever used to do, then other things open up, right, for relationships and all of those other things from learning about your food story, because it helps with everything.
Did you find that you were a trailblazer in this? And when I ask this, I think of my own journey when I first lost 50 pounds years ago. And no one around me now this was before having a family, but no one around me was interested in being healthy at the time. And so I just had to trust the process. What was it like for you to decide for you that you were going to make these changes? And what were those closest to you? What was the feedback you got from those closest to you?
So the people closest to me, and some of them still say it, they thought I was funny because I started this particular program before I became a coach, right before like the holidays. So it was like end of September. And of course, I'm doing a lot of, well, what is going on? I'm looking at self-reflecting and things of that nature before getting into it. So I bring my own Thanksgiving to my mom's house, and they're like, oh, look at Cheri. She's doing something again, kooky or whatever, because I'm very extroverted. And so I'm always doing something new because I like to learn new things. And so I got some of that. But the thing is this program really is about community, and it is about some of the patterns that you can clear from walking yourself through to the end of the food journey, while if you're sitting down and wanting to eat something or what have you. Some of the deeper work, I then, of course, went and learned more of that on my own, because I wanted to know what was going on if all of a sudden I walk next to somebody that has pizza, which that doesn't do anything for me anymore. But well, why? Like, why am I attracted to that right now? What am I trying to avoid? What comfort am I looking for in that food? Because I am an emotional eater. I can see it today sometimes, like, oh, there's that trigger again. Nope. And I go do something else. But the support system of the program actually is amazing as well. And I met other people that we could go and talk to each other about it. And then the other people, because I was committed, didn't matter so much.
And I definitely want to dive into prosperity mindset first. We're going to take a commercial break. Stay put. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this.
Hi everyone, welcome to Fit Bites with Adriana. Today we're tackling a silent but significant health issue, chronic inflammation. So let's uncover ways to manage it naturally. Chronic inflammation can linger in our bodies and contribute to various diseases from arthritis to heart disease. So how can we combat it? Well, let's start with food intake. Incorporating anti-inflammatory foods like turmeric, ginger, and fatty fish can make a huge difference. Now, these foods contain compounds that help reduce inflammatory responses in the body. Exercise also plays a key role. Regular, moderate exercise releases anti-inflammatory chemicals, so aim for a balanced routine that keeps you moving without overexerting. Sleep is another critical factor. Ensuring you get enough restorative sleep each night helps your body repair and fight inflammation. And finally, manage stress. Stress can exacerbate inflammation, so find stress reduction techniques that work for you, such as meditation or spending time outdoors. By integrating these habits into your daily life, you can help reduce chronic inflammation and enhance your overall health. Tune in next time for more Fit Bites, and here's to a healthier you.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Welcome back to the Health Revolution. My guest today is Cheri Petroni. She is a prosperity mindset coach, and we are talking about from fiasco to success and how we're able to transcend that in all areas of our life. And as we were going to break, Cheri, you started to talk about those moments where things were changing for you, and then obviously you had shifted and this is now your focus in being a prosperity mindset expert. Talk a little bit about what that means, prosperity mindset, and how do you marry the physical and the financial piece together specifically?
Okay, so to discuss the prosperity aspect, I like to just back up a little bit, and most people are in fear, right? There's such a majority of people in fear, which is really more of that scarcity mindset, which some people know exactly what that means, and some people don't have any idea what I'm talking about. But that is really the idea that there's only so much available in the world for each of us, and that we better go and out of fear get that little piece of the pie, because if we don't, we are going to be in trouble and we aren't going to get anything, right? So somewhat of the other half of that, so the pendulum swinging to the other side, is mindset. Well, even better than that, but abundant mindset, which is there's enough for everybody to go around. And a lot of people focus on mindset that I'm abundant and and I do all of these things. So I'm not making fun of anybody, but there's more to it than that. So then we move into a wealth prosperity and a relationship prosperity and well, you could say food, but health and wellness prosperity, because wealth is really what we are looking to create. And that is that idea that everything is available to us and we get to choose what that is and then go out and get it. And that's where the mindset of clearing the beliefs and clearing some of the things that we don't understand, but that you're hitting this invisible ceiling or this block to get to over the hump or whatever you want to call it. Something's not right. And the result of moving those gives you the prosperity, which is the actual physical. Wealth is this way too, but more than just money, wealth is getting the things you want and having those actual things present that are tangible of what you want. And it could be a happy family. It doesn't have to be a car and $1 million. It's whatever it means to you. And it starts by clearing some of those things that are keeping you blocked.
So what would you say to the viewer who's watching and they find it hard to envision prosperity and having the mindset? Where do they begin, even if, say, someone is just feeling nothing but despair?
So you have to start somewhere. So when I begin a session, I really simply ask people, what is it that they prefer not to experience? What is happening right now? And go in and we start the journey. So what's really cool about what I do is it could be any number of things. Somebody can come and say they want to work on money, or they want to work on food, or they want to work on whatever. And we start there. And you know what often happens? So they go to sometimes like an early childhood experience and they go, oh my gosh, I saw this. And then we go through a process. And then something comes up at the end, and then we get to go to the next piece. Now, there is also the trauma thing. So sometimes I have some programs that we can work through, and I don't mean trauma like big T's, there are some of those, but there's also simple things that we were hiding underneath the table at one point and watched our parents yell at each other when we were 4, and we took this idea away that wasn't even real. And then we get to work through it and go to the other side and create something new. And that's the key, is creating something new and having practical strategies then to instill them and keep them irreversible.
How much energy is needed to break those habits from what you've seen and when you work with others?
So really the most important thing is the desire to change and the willing to be committed to doing what you can do and moving into having more vitality, more motivation, clarity. You start to see some things that you can achieve, and then you get a little piece of something, and then you can build on that. So we don't have to have this giant vision of world peace and I'm going to be on stage or I'm going to be doing whatever. It can be literally, I want a happier life and spend more time with my kids, and I seem to be in the way, and we can do that.
Say in the case of someone who is surrounded by those who think the complete opposite of that may be family, maybe close ones, inner circle just doesn't even roll that way. how do they then start to establish those boundaries so that they can create the space to work on them without having that pressure of giving into how everyone else is thinking?
And so that is part of that whole relationship piece. If somebody comes in and they're, I'm always doing something for everybody else, and then at the end of the day I don't get to do this. Okay, that's a relationship thing, and it has to do with boundaries. So we start looking at, what is it that you believe? Well, I have to do everything myself if somebody, in order to be liked, or if I ask for help, I just get ridiculed. Why? Because I'm stupid, or whatever. So, some of these basic beliefs that came about, or it could be something different. But the point being is, the boundaries have to be identified. What is it that you're really actually thinking underneath there? What is it now we can do? And if I have to, I can have a conversation with some of the other people, but I'm right there every step of the way. One-on-one is really, really good, but we can do also group stuff. And then if that's the case, then you have some accountability partners. And I have a whole actual Facebook group that people are on all the time, where we talk about this every day, and where I offer some other things and stuff. So there is support, because I know I didn't have any, and I was just sick and tired. So I just did it anyway. And then I got people along the way, and now I have friends and I do things.
And so it's, when you talk about that, you didn't have anybody along the way. I'm thinking of the viewer trying to envision those first couple of steps. So then there's this willingness to disregard some of the flack or feedback, negative feedback that maybe, say, that person might hear, that they're trying to better themselves, and then they're not necessarily hearing supportive statements from those around them. Would you say in the practice of creating that space is kind of like posturing up, so to speak?
Mm-hmm. And it begins with, sometimes it's awareness. I mean, I might have to help someone simply learn how to feel in their body, because the body keeps the score. It's a book, a lot of people have seen it, a lot of people haven't. And it is really about noticing, wow, I have this big knot in my gut. What is going on there? And I start teaching them some things. It might be that there's the pre-work that we do before we get into the belief. But until we start talking to the body, feeling the body, and seeing what we already know about ourselves that is buried in the tissues, and then maybe some energy healing and some things of that nature as well, because we can do that online as well as in person. And so there's some other things, and it just depends. Some people that come in, I'm like, I'm so sick of this, I need to get rid of it now. And they're like just spilling it out before I even ask the questions. And it's about them answering the questions, by the way. It's nothing that I say to them. It's all what they are willing and ready to do, and coming from their heart and their minds.
So the similarities between health, and I know we're talking about health, and then obviously you edify reaching success, and you do touch on financial success and being able to attain that. What are some similarities between how someone sees themselves and then how they see wealth? What are some things that you pick up, or some trends that you come across when you work with others?
So I'll tell you a story about a person, the crook story. And she's in her 30s now, and I'm still working with her. But in the beginning, she's had a rough life, a lot of trauma, a lot of different things. And so I started working with her from really her chakras, her energy centers, to see what was going on there. And she had such terrible beliefs about herself, that she was unworthy, she was unwanted, she had nobody likes me, all of these things. And we started working on that first. And of course, her money situation was terrible. She's house about to lose it, all of these things. And I knew her through some other people. And so I was able to start working on some of those things, but also energy healing and things like give back ceremonies, which is a way to, if somebody said something to you most of your life, you can give that belief back and start the process of seeing, okay, I have clarity. I can start paying this bill off or whatever it is, and eventually get to the point. She's a rough run, and so we're still in the middle of it, but she's now starting to get above the fray. She's no longer one step into practically, I wanted to say divorce, but that was part of what happened as well along the way, which made things worse, which can. That's funny. So, but almost into bankruptcy. She's had help. She has had support from other people. However, her main structure was, we needed to build a new house of safety and stability before we could even get to the money.
So you brought up something that's really intriguing that I can't help but ask. So say in the case of a person, man or woman, who is in a relationship, in a marriage, where they feel compelled to grow, that maybe where they've been has not been a place of growth, and say significant other or spouse is not on board, and as a matter of fact, they've been dragging their feet. Mm-hmm. Where do you begin to approach addressing that situation? Because I would imagine that a marriage is complex if both people are not on the same page and they're not aligned.
Absolutely. And that is my story, the short answer of what happened with my marriage as well. And I've been with my husband now 41 years, which is insane in my opinion. That just sounds crazy because I look at myself, I'm like, wow, you're that old. But I am. And so what happened was as I started changing some of my belief system, it wasn't, wow, look at what she's doing now. She's wanting to be at home. She's wanting to do this, because everybody has their own system that they're working from. And quite often, and in my case, the two systems that were in place at each of our homes during childhood were very different. And we never thought to even compare, because who does that, right? So fast forward to now, we are coming to a place of goodness. But it's been a long 7 years, and I have moved out in the process, moved back in the process, had separate rooms in the process. And and I've had clients where I've had, okay, this person comes in, and then I start working with their spouse. And it could be a boundary thing where one's pushing the boundaries and has none, and the codependent, quite often woman, is trying to accommodate. And here's the thing. And so we work with both of them separate, bring them together, and again, do some hands-on practice together. And then I become more of like what you'd say, a personal life coach or couples life coach or whatever, because I will work with whoever needs the help in able to get it to a place where they feel like they have success. So I'm in it for the long haul, not just to do okay, we get our 12 weeks, bye now, have fun, which I'm joking, but I've sometimes felt that way in courses.
So then the level of success that you've seen, the trends of those who you've worked with, where they worked on themselves, and then it happens to be that they really want to be financially successful. What are some patterns that you've noticed has been the outcome when people have done the work? Or is it more gradual? Is it drastic? Is it gradual? Is it ebbs and flows? What are some trends that you noticed?
I would say money is probably the biggest motivator for people to come and actually get the support, especially women in business. Men will come too. I actually go to this networking group, and my first visit there, one of the men came up and he goes, "Do you work with men too?" Like, he was so desperate. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course. It's just most people come into the spa that are women. And that's the only reason I've focused on that as my niche. However, anybody can be affected by beliefs that are stopping their money flow and not have any idea where it comes from. So we start working on that. And then as they start really uncovering all of the other things that had happened along the way, right? So it could be they heard their parents talking about money or not talking about money. And it could provide the same thing, that money must be bad and that they're putting blocks in their way, not even realizing by not offering what they are worth, or the offer is not what the money they should be getting, right? They're going, oh, how about $100 for something that should be 1,000 or what have you? I'm throwing some money out there. And then what happens is that happens much quicker because they're motivated. They need to pay their bills. And then some of the other stuff starts coming out. And by that point, there are some goals and there's some clarity, and we can get down to things start falling off. Relationships are better. Money is better. We start taking care of ourselves. We decide to eat better, things like that.
Light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
Yes,
We're going to take a commercial break. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this. Thank you so much for watching The Health Revolution. Our show is growing, and it's all thanks to viewers like you. No matter how you found us, please hit the subscribe button so we can stay connected and continue to deliver amazing content to you.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Embodies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
Share this with your friends and family and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
And now we want to give special thanks to Biomed Mobile IV for sponsoring the Health Revolution. Biomed Mobile IV is Colorado's top mobile IV therapy service, servicing throughout the state of Colorado. They offer an array of vitamins and above and beyond safety preparation. Biomed Mobile IV, your dedication to health and wellness is exactly what our show is all about. And we thank you for your support. Welcome back to the Health Revolution. Welcome back, everybody. My guest today, Cheri Petroni, she is talking all things from failure to success, prosperity mindset expert. And Cheri, we were talking before the break about the connection between taking care of that abundance with your health and connecting it to the financial success that so many of us, of course, would love to achieve. And I'm curious about, I want to talk a little bit about your money story and then the meditative practices that you do. And of course, I do want to bring up the slide where we're talking more, that we're talking about the money story and meditation. Talk to us about how you bridge the gap between those two. And what's your best practice in navigating this?
So this is actually a free gift that you can get if you went to my website. And so here's what I do with this, because it, like I said, most people are concerned with money first and foremost. That's the biggest motivator, I guess. If you're ready to lose your house, you're going to go and finally go, what's going on? And so this money story meditation, it's really a guided visualization going in, and I walk them through a process where we step by step get to the bottom of a core wound. And a core wound is simply like there's a whole bunch of, different beliefs all in this cluster. And the one that's sort of at the center, because if you get to that, you will then be able to take away that and start over. So they get this free. It's a video. Of course, it's evergreen. Obviously, I'm not there live for everything. However, once they go through it, I offer for them to come and do a free discovery session, and let's get to that next piece and talk about why that happened. Or if they got stuck, I'll walk them through it. And so it's a really great way to find out more about what I do and actually go through it with me.
So when it comes to the talk about money and meditative practices, what are some things that people discover about themselves? Is it and here's where I'm going with that. Is it that maybe previously that there was a lack of connection within? Is it that the limiting beliefs were capping the type of life that they envision for themselves? Is it that they just played small for so often? What are some things that the meditation piece just brings about for those who go through it?
So it could be any one of those things, because each one is a little different. Of course, we have those basic ones. I'm all alone and no one loves me. I'm unwanted. And, some of these things that everybody kind of throws out there. But the reality is we each come to these conclusions in a little bit of a different way. So when I go through and walk someone through this process of taking a look, and it's going back in time, and they'll find a place where they see their parents, because the earliest money story is going to be about their parents or a caregiver, someone that was very close to them. And then they'll see this scenario. And then as that child, they walk through the process as to what they thought was going on. So there's been people that have come on and they go, oh my gosh, money is bad. Like, just money is bad. It could be that simple, because you're 3 and you go, money is bad, because they're yelling at each other about a bill or something, or they're just hearing them and they keep hearing like talk of money. So money is bad, and it can be that simple. And we go in, and there's several strategies I can use depending on where the pain points are, in a sense, and how it's showing up for them, and then walk through the process. Go and of course, install something new and different, so that the brain, because it doesn't know any better whether one's real or the other, and it's what we focus on is what becomes real, which is why we can manifest. That's what we start to do, so that the other belief, grows weeds, and you have the path to the new belief, basically, in the brain. You can do that. Sounds kind of funny, but
you mentioned before that you have a private Facebook group that you do, that there's work that you do as well. And I want to see if we can go ahead and bring that up as the next slide. And so I know you talked about you had talked about the virtual retreat that is coming up. And now, is that something that has been in the works for some time, or no? Or talk a little bit about that.
So I have a monthly retreat, and it's about prosperity mindset. And it's really about your relationships in general, because relationship with money is a thing. Relationship with your brain is a thing. Relationship with, all of those things that we've talked about. There's relationships. So it sort of is the vibe of what's going on in the Facebook group. But I have a virtual retreat, usually the second weekend, and it's a 6-hour retreat, 3 hours one day, so you can process, because it is a little bit of processing involved, and then come back the next day and get to the rest. And it's a good way to find out, well, gosh, I really want to do some of this, but do I really want to get into it and go into a one-on-one coaching or what have you? No, you could come to this every month. And so it's on my website, but it's also, at the Facebook page and all of that things, but it is once a month, and it's going to be similar, but different every time.
And so one thing that you and I talked about that I do like that you have to offer is, you talk about your weekly chats. And so talk a little bit more about the weekly chats and the mindset matters and your goal with that.
Okay. So yes, and that is a similar thing, only it's every week, and it's going to be a little bit less intense, I would say, but none of it has to be intense, because it's very, very gentle. However, I might do a meditation. I might do some other sort of experiential thing, but we might go on and have a discussion about boundaries and then get some tips. So my prosperity mindset tips, which is what I do in my group, it's going to be an expansion of that. And it's going to be a discussion. And I really like to find out what people are wanting. What's the vibe going out there? Mercury in retrograde, we always get a bunch of weird, interesting stuff. It's like, why is this happening? And it's really just the energies are bringing it forth, is all of the same stuff that we have that we might not pay attention to. So yes, this is a little bit less intense, but it's a really good, I love to get discussion. Sometimes, I just do a thing And then there might be a couple people, sometimes there's 20. And then they're on a page where they can go back and review them, sort of like a podcast, but it's not a podcast because it's just me. Well, I guess it could still be me as a podcast, but I'm not doing it in that way. So
different layers of
chat. Yes, it's a chat. It's just me with some people, whoever are there, and we can go down rabbit holes and nobody cares because we're there and we're all interested.
So different layers of support that you
Absolutely.
have for those who definitely are leaning in towards this being a way to help them. So yes, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this.
Hi, this is Clara Capano, your host for Women Winning Their Way, where we talk about how you can create success all on your terms. Join us Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Limelight Network here on E360 TV.
Welcome back to the Health Revolution. My guest today, Cheri Petroni, prosperity mindset expert, and she and I have been talking about taking things from failure, from fiasco to success, bridging the gap between the success in health to transforming that into financial wealth and then beyond. Cheri, where can viewers find you on the internet and also on social media?
Okay, so I cheripetroni.com, which is just how my name is looking right here. That's easy. And then my handle on Instagram is that, Cheri Petroni, as well as LinkedIn. And I believe that it's prosperity. Wait a minute. There it is. Prosperity Mindset Mastery is my coaching page, my business page, which is where you can easily find, if you forget the name of my actual group, which is Tips to Creating a Prosperity Mindset, which is Prosperity Mindset Tips. And it's easy to just go. And if you put Cheri Petroni in Facebook, it's going to show me because there's not very many of me. And you'll see a personal page and you'll see my business page. And that gives all of those things. But all of the other stuff is at the website that you could get the download. There's actually some different things. And I'm really here to help because I didn't know where to go. And I was really stuck for a long time before I just sat there and I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Like, it was almost like my brain said, hello. And I finally answered because I was stuck at that glass ceiling. We talk about glass ceiling in a lot of different areas, but we have our own inner glass ceiling in our brain that we just got to go punch and then we can move up.
I love that, Cheri. It has been amazing to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us today. Your time, your energy, and the information that you're sharing. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I was really excited to be here because this was more than, a short thing. I could actually talk about some things. I appreciate it.
Of course, that's what our space is for. And for our viewers, you can always find us on the internet at thehealthrevolutiontv.com, where you can also subscribe to our newsletter. If you can also email us for any show ideas that come up for you. We, of course, would love to deliver on that. And then upper left-hand corner, if it's easier for you, this is our QR code that you will see. You can grab that quickly. And then, as always, you can find us on the Achieve TV channel on E360 TV every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here. That's all the time that we have. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We will see you soon.